Morning gang, I am missing my hat, let me tell you. If anyone works for Trail Outlaws and you picked up my Varga hat on the, which aid station was it? The Wooler aid station, and you want me to come and get it off you because you don't like the colour, then I'll be on my way. Either that, or I could just order a new hat. Or I could put the avocado hat on that I had for the race. That was a good hat. Anyway, whew, I seem to be a bit out of breath. How are we all doing? Happy Tuesday morning, at the time of recording. We are about a week out, no, a week since, more than by 2 days. Since the St. Cuthberts Ultra. This selfie stick's dead. It's just sliding in. I need to get up, back and order a new one on the old Amazon today. Oh, what a week. What a week. Do you know, talk about having some sensible things to do. I feel full of energy. I feel full of coffee, which has chilled out a bit. And yeah, I am out on my first proper run since the St. Cuthberts Ultra. So today I'm going to talk about a few of the things that I've been doing wrong or not listening to my own advice when it comes to recovery, and I'll talk about what we're doing next, and that's probably right then. So I really am missing my hat, you know. Definitely need to get a hat sorted after this run this morning. Ooh. So what we've been doing the last week, well, we've been drinking beer, going to bed late and eating shit food, and woke up on Sunday and guess what? I felt like fucking shit. Absolute terrible. So there is the lesson learned a week post ultra. You can't put rubbish in and expect to feel good. Very, very clear to me that drinking beer every day and eating fish and chips is fine on the odd day when the sun is shining, when you're at the coast or you've just done a 65-mile run. But if you spend a full week doing it after your ultra, then you're going to end up feeling like crap. So a word of warning to anyone on the recovery train or about to do the next ultra. I couldn't believe it. What a fool, eh? So yeah, so we're back on nice healthy foods, enjoying plenty of water, and not being a dickhead when it comes to drinking beer. You know what I mean? Just don't go mad with it. So one of the first things I've done is eat all these flies. But yeah, look at the dome. Beautiful places. Yeah, one of the first things I've done to realign me chakras is to just start going back to bed at 9 o'clock at night. It is the summer, so you're not tempted to stay awake super late, but when you've got to get up at 6 o'clock for work and go for a run, 9 o'clock is the bedtime. So yeah, back 9 o'clock bedtimes, back to eating well, and hopefully we'll see a bit of improvement over the next week. Taking some of this view though, look. A little bit of a race recap for anyone that's thinking about doing St. Cuthbert's Way 100k next year. The first thing I would say is figure out what time it starts, because I didn't know that it was a 1 o'clock in the morning start until about a week before, and had I have known that, I'm not sure I would have entered. But having gone for the 1 o'clock in the morning start was actually quite a good format, because when the sun did come up at 6 o'clock in the morning, it was hot, but by then, you know, you were already a good chunk of the way into the race and had a lot of miles behind you before the day even started, so that felt good. Although I did have to get over the initial shock of starting at 1 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, racing through the night was pretty good. The event was well organised. The route was pretty easy to follow, apart from the very start of the race had another local race going on, so there's a few arrows you had to be aware of. Luckily, the first wave had gone off ahead of us, and they got lost, so we were pre-warned not to get lost, which was handy. But yeah, aid stations, relatively well stocked with jelly babies, and what was nice was quite a few people had left things behind, so if you had a drop bag, what it seemed like was people were taking stuff out of their drop bags, but then because your drop bag wasn't being transported to the end, people were taking what was left and putting it on the table, so that was handy. I managed to pick up a few extra tailwinds in that scenario and leave behind a couple of caffeine based tailwinds just because they weren't sitting too well. Well, I say they weren't sitting too well, I just didn't like the flavour. But yeah, all in all it was quite a pleasant experience. So yeah, aid stations were lovely. And then coming on to the kind of terrain, it was all relatively nice underfoot. There was a couple of stretches on the road that were a bit tedious, but when you're racing around the northeast of England, it's kind of to be expected. You know, there's not many trails that you're going to come across where it's entirely off-road, but I would say that there was more trail, certainly a hell of a lot more trail than there was road, and the conditions for the course were really good. The trails weren't too bad underfoot. The only problem necessarily was that the grass has obviously grown really high, so we were weed whacking through quite a bit, and I do wonder if the people ahead of us managed to knock it all down for us, so thank you very much if you were in there. I do have one cautionary tale about the terrain, and that is that the causeway over to Lindisfarne, Holy Island, is a lot further than you think. So given that you're allowed paces or crew or whatever, and you can kind of meet them at either the A1 motorway or even just on the causeway, if I was given the chance again, I would most definitely change out of trail running shoes into a big pair of comfy shoes for the last 3.5 miles across the causeway. Now, you don't have to be a wuss and do that, but if you want to be competitive in that race, it would definitely make the difference. You know, to be honest, from Wooler, there was a number of sections that were definitely more runnable in road running shoes, or maybe just less intense trail running shoes. I wore me Ultra Olympus 5s, and they were perfect for all the stuff that was like this, of which I would say there's 60%, and then some Moorland, which they were champion for as well, and yeah, quite a good bit of road towards the end, or hard packed track. And so if it was as dry as it was when I did it, then I would definitely have your road shoes, or like a mix, you know, maybe like the Asics Nova Blast, but like the trail version. You could have had a pair of them on, something like that would have seen you flying over the causeway rather than being cumbersome and flat-footed like myself. But overall, I would definitely go back to do the race again. Plus points were aid stations were good, most of the terrain was phenomenal, the course was really runnable. I know that sounds silly, but like on some of these ultras, the course can be particularly walkable or hikeable, but it was enough of a rolling terrain to really get stuck into it for the most part. It was really hot, and I don't think a lot of people were prepared for just how hot it was. I think that one of the guys, Tim, said that that's the main reason for DNAing or DNFing. DNAing, that's a work term, isn't it? Did not attend. Oh, DNF was the heat, and I can understand. I think if you'd gone into it with your ego fully inflated, you wouldn't have been able to slow down during the hottest part of the days, and you quite well might have burnt out. So yeah, heat was a bit one. A few of the road sections, I'm not sure you can get around not having them in the race. But yeah, I'll definitely be back again. Watch this space, as it were. And then next on our list, following that, is to start and get some time in over at the lakes. So going this weekend for my birthday. Happy birthdays down in the comments. Get me ego rubbed a bit. Getting over there this weekend just for a little bit. Family weekend away, so there'll not be too much running, but there'll be a nice bit of hiking. And then on the 5th of August, going over to hike and wild camp the Bob Graham route, so that I can take me time around it, have a look at all the angles. I'll take the GoPro, no doubt, and get some footage there. But I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, we've got the Bob penciled in for September. Depending on weather and such, we might have a crack at it. Certainly that's the plan. And if not, then if the weather doesn't play a game at about that time of year, once we've got the recce's in, then we'll be looking to get a few more recce's in, and then picking a big run to do over the winter months, and postponing the Bob till maybe the spring next year. But I think at the minute we're about 70% going to get it done. Just need to make sure that I've got some good time on legs in the next month or so, getting some uphills and some downhills. You know, you need to harden your legs for the fells. It's one thing to run 65 miles over the northeast of England, not that many big downhills. It's another to go and do 60 something miles at the Bob Graham round, a lot more elevation. So we've got some conditioning to do on the legs. Any top tips for me on training for the Bob Graham, stick them down in the comments. Anyone who's going over to do any legs of the Bob Graham in the next couple of months, drop yourself down in the comments here, or send us a message on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll see about meeting up. Right, I hope you all have a lovely day. I'm gonna get back to doing some actual running and then go to work. See you later, bye.